It's okay to not fully have things together. It's okay to not fully have the answers, because right now may not be the season for that. What's happening in the physical world, while you are experiencing it, there's more to you than just that. Maybe you need to learn to embrace the chaos, embrace whatever it is that life is throwing at you right now, and just learn to surrender yourself to it. Just do your best to show up in whatever way you possibly can. Let go of who you were yesterday. Let go of who you were last week. Just remember, you always have a new day to bounce back. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a super chill chit chat video. The thing that I've been kind of thinking about and journaling about these past few days is this realization that you have to keep going. No matter what happens in life, no matter what you may be feeling or what's going on, no matter what it is that you're going through, life does not stop. I feel like I've heard people say this so much, but I never really fully understood it until this past year, and I really found myself I don't know what is wrong with me. I don't know if it's because I just moved or because the weather here in New York has been terrible for these past few weeks, but I just feel like I've not been feeling like myself. I haven't been feeling like the best version of myself. Typically when this happens, I find myself getting into this cycle of shaming myself and feeling really, really bad. Or typically, honestly, what ends up happening is I start out the week feeling really, really good, feeling motivated in some way to make a change. I'm like, okay, this week is gonna be a new week. I'm starting fresh, I'm starting new. And then by midweek, I'm just unable to keep it together, and I just end up feeling like a failure. I feel like I always try to show up here as the best version of myself, but I'm beginning to realize that just showing up anyways, showing up even when you're not feeling your best, even when you're not feeling like it, you kind of put yourself in the frequency of recognizing that you are deserving of the things that you want. Life sometimes is going to be throwing things at you. Sometimes things are not going to feel fully within your control. You have to just kind of keep going. And one thing that I always have to remind myself is that everything is temporary. Every emotion, every chaotic or negative or just undesirable emotion that you are experiencing in a given moment is going to eventually be replaced by something positive. A lot of us, we think that we are supposed to have all the answers, and we think that we're supposed to have it together all the time. And when the world around you, when there's things happening in your external world that don't seem to make sense to you, I don't know about you, but for me at least, it can just feel extremely frustrating. But I just want to remind you that if you're kind of in that position right now, it's okay to let go of that control. It's okay to not fully have things together. It's okay to not fully have the answers, because right now may not be the season for that. You may not be in a place where you need to have everything figured out. Maybe you need to learn to embrace the chaos, embrace whatever it is that life is throwing at you right now, and just learn to surrender yourself to it. And maybe in time, the answers are gonna come your way. Probably over time, the answers are gonna come your way, right? I can bet you at some other point in your life where things felt like they were maybe going wrong, or again, you didn't have all the answers, or you didn't know what was supposed to come next for you. Eventually, you were able to figure it out. Eventually, you got to a place where you just had more clarity, and things just started to make sense, and things started to feel a little bit easier. And so I'm just telling you, just remember that in any given moment, whatever it is that you're experiencing, it is temporary. And there is, even when you can't fully see it, even when you can't fully understand it, there is some reasoning behind what it is that you are going through, right? Trusting and truly believing that there is, again, a divine, I talked about this in my last video, trusting and believing that there is a divine plan for you, that things are happening to you the way that they should be, and that you are destined for a happy ending. When you can remind yourself that, put yourself in this frequency of allowing that to kind of be put in motion for you, even if in your external reality you're not seeing that, right? There are different realities in which we can operate. And so even if you're seeing things in your external reality go a certain way that don't really seem to make sense to you, there is a version of you in which you are able to access that is beyond just all this physical stuff. You are connected to a source and to a consciousness that is above all of this. And I like to be very careful with the language that I'm using, because I feel like it's not so much it being in a different place, because it exists in this reality right now. It's not somewhere else. It's not in the sky. It's not like it's within you. You can probably feel that there is something beyond just this physical plane, right? What's happening in the physical world is not fully, like, while you are experiencing it, there's more to you than just that. And just remember that we cause ourselves suffering the more that we are attached to anything on this physical plane. So when you are attached to another person, when you are attached to specific results and things going a certain way, when you are attached to material things and to like literally anything in this 3D realm, you cause yourself more suffering the more you are attached to it, right? Because nothing really truly belongs to you. You can enjoy them for usually a temporary amount of time, but usually life will teach you in some way or another to learn the lesson of disattachment. It's a part of the journey of being human. It's a part of the journey of, like, if you're going through a spiritual experience, if you are opening up and waking up to who it is that you really truly are, and the fact that we are all connected and that everything is really just made from this frequency of love and we get to make the choice. Like, if you're waking up to all of this, welcome. I think a part of that lesson in waking up is having to go through these experiences in which you have to learn to let go of your attachments to things in this world. And it's not always fun, but I'm telling you that you end up actually being a lot happier and you end up finding more joy once you make it through that lesson. And so I think a lot of us are entering these like death cycles where we're having to grieve a relationship or a season of our lives or a person or a thing, or I think a lot of us are having to let go of and to grieve things in our lives that are no longer meant to be there, that maybe we wanted them to be there and we wanted them to work out a certain way, or we wanted them to go a certain way, but they weren't actually truly serving us. I think a lot of us are going through lessons right now where we're having to let go of these things, and we're having to recognize that, again, the more attached we are to certain outcomes and to certain results, the more suffering we cause ourselves in this life. Just remember that you are in this season of shedding, or you're in this season of having to let go of things so that you can receive more, so that you can receive more blessings and more abundance and things that you couldn't even fully, that even right now, maybe you can't even fully understand and fathom that, like, oh, I can have even more. I can have even better things in this life, right? Like, I can have, like, the things that I'm having to let go of right now. When you can learn to let go of these things that are weighing you down energetically, emotionally, because of your attachment to them, you can make more room for more abundance in your life. You can make more room for more opportunities for people in your life that you're actually more aligned to, right? You can make room for just different things in your life, different experiences that are going to make you, and that are going to actually bring you closer to the person that you want to be. But again, that requires you to kind of surrender your control a little bit and recognize that you don't fully have the answers. You're never going to, right? You are not God. No matter how many books you read on spirituality, no matter how much you think you know, we are all ignorant to some degree. We do not have the answers fully, because it would kind of defeat the whole purpose of this human experience if we were able to fully access the knowledge that, like, God has, or the divine or the universe has. When we can kind of like recognize that, it kind of just like allows us to relax and not feel like we have to work so hard to be within control all the time. So if you're kind of in this place right now where maybe you just don't fully feel like you have the answers, or life just isn't fully making sense, I just really, really encourage you to sit with yourself and ask yourself, how can I show up for myself and the people that I need to show up for? Recognize what it is that you can control. What are also some things that are happening in your life right now that are not within your control? And what are you deciding in this given moment that you want to release control of? Are you going to surrender and allow things to kind of work themselves out? And even when you are not showing up for yourself the way that you would like to be, you have to learn to forgive yourself, right? You have to learn that, like, you do not have to be perfect 24/7, because if you're so attached to being this perfect person all the time, eventually you're going to have to learn to disattach from that. You are worthy of receiving amazing things, amazing opportunities, and you are still worthy of receiving abundance even when you are not showing up as the most perfect version of yourself. Life is always going to keep going. Life is always going to keep throwing things at you, and you just have to just show up anyways and just recognize that, like, okay, I may not have all the answers right now. I may not be perfect right now. I may not even get everything done that I want to get done, like I said I would, But that's okay. The good thing about life is that you always have room to improve. So give yourself small things that you can kind of tackle and conquer each day. Be proud of yourself, celebrate yourself when you do get those things done. Just do your best to show up in whatever way you possibly can, and let go of who you were yesterday, let go of who you were last week, let go of who you were last month, and decide today who it is that you want to be. Just remember, you always have a new day to bounce back. The sun will go down, but eventually the sun will rise. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. I feel like this video was very all over the place, but it's giving very much like we're deep in Pisces season right now, and just like it's just the energy in the air. And I just want to remind you that like it's okay if you're feeling chaotic right now. It's okay if you're feeling like you don't have all the answers, or maybe you do. Maybe you're not feeling like this at all. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Just let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments down below how you guys have been doing, if you guys resonate with this video at all. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.